I surrender to the Almighty my mind, speech, and body. Vanakkam. We are here to read the Tirukkural, which is one of the important books left behind by our Tamil ancestors. The book gives the aram for the conduct of human life, and it is structured in a manner that follows the growth of the Uyir in the path of love. Uyir is the intelligence inside all of us. We are going to start with the preface of the book, but before that, we have to understand a few basic concepts. I had mentioned earlier that humans are blessed with 6 senses. That is the 5 sense organs that we are all familiar with, and the 6th organ being the mind. Mind is a sukmam or a subtle organ. Sukmam things are those that cannot be seen or heard or sensed with the 5 senses, but we know its presence from its working. So if all of us are having all the 6 senses, then why are we not the same? We look, act, speak and think different. We face different life experiences and react to them differently. Why? The answer lies in something called karma. Today I will give you an introduction to the law of karma and the purpose of birth. What is karma? I will explain it now. You see, all the things around us in this world can be classified into 2 groups, living and non-living. Among living beings, there are beings that can move and those that cannot, like plants and trees. The living things that cannot move are called as tavaram, and those that can move are called as sangamam. We humans belong to the sangamam group because we can move. And among the living beings, there is a variation in the way the intelligence of the Uyir is used to perceive the world. Depending on how the living things experience this world, they are classified into 6 categories. I had talked about this earlier. Plants are living things and they experience the world with only one sense, that is sense of touch. Snails, oysters can sense the touch and taste. Leech, ants, they have the sense of touch, taste and smell and so on. Tolkappiyam, which is the book on grammar, goes into detail about this idea. Now even among humans, the level of intelligence of the Uyir is not the same. Some of us have ears that cannot hear, whereas a singer's ear can correctly identify the tune of a song. When Newton sees an apple falling, he invents gravity. Some of us can only think of apple juice. So even though we are all having the same instruments, they don't work the same way for all of us. And that's because of our karma. Karma is a law of cause and effect. Tirukkural goes deeper into the subject in the later chapters, but for now, let us understand that karma literally means action, and action can be done by the mind, speech and body. So wishing something good or bad for someone is also considered as an action. In Tamil, we also refer to action as karma vinay or simply vinay. It's all the same, karma vinay or vinay. So this is how karma works. All of our actions accumulate something called punyam or pavam. Actions done with good intentions are called as nal vinay. Nal means good. So nal vinay can be translated as good actions. And those actions done with bad intentions are called as ti vinay. Ti means bad. So ti vinay can be translated as bad actions. Nal vinay or the good actions accumulate something called punyam. And ti vinay or the bad actions accumulate something called pavam. For example, if I see a hungry person and offer some food, this is a nal vinay. So I will accumulate punyam. If I decide to steal from someone, the mere thought itself accumulates pavam. Punyam and Pavam registers in our Uyir and cause happy and difficult experiences respectively in the next birth. So our experiences in this birth is nothing but an echo of our actions of the previous birth, and our current actions in this birth will determine the experiences of the next birth. So this is the concept of karma. So if we are having a lot of good experiences now, it means that we have accumulated a lot of punyam in the previous birth. And if we are facing a lot of difficult situations in this birth, we can understand that we have accumulated a lot of pavam in the previous birth. It is said that we take birth in this world to dispel our punyam and pavam. So we have accumulated this punyam and pavam and we take birth to get rid of it. But what happens is, when we take birth into some place, we begin to accumulate more punyam and pavam, and we take more birth to get rid of it. So this cycle of birth and rebirth continues. How to break free from this cycle? That is a big question and I cannot answer that now. We will come to it when we read about it in this book. It is said that our karma decides 4 things. First, what kind of body we will take in the next birth. Second, what kind of instruments we will have in the body. And third, the place where we will be born. And lastly, what kind of experiences we will face in the next birth. Now the first one, the body, it is also called as Tanu in Tamil. Tanu. Depending on our karma, we take the form of either a human or a dog or a donkey or a monkey or a plant and so on. The body alone is called as a Tanu. But just the body alone is not enough to get rid of the punyam and the pavam. We need some instruments to participate in the world, like the eyes, nose, etc., which have to be attached to this body. So the second point here is the instruments to be attached to the body. Now instruments are also called as indriyas, indriya. We have instruments to receive input from the environment and also instruments to act out our karma. Our 5 sense organs help us to receive input from the environment. These sense organs are called as jnanendriyas, jnanendriya. Jnana means knowledge and indriya means instrument. So these 5 sense organs are called as jnanendriyas, or the instruments to receive intelligence from the environment. Apart from the 5 sense organs, we have a mouth for speaking, hands, legs, reproductive organs and excretory organs which help us to perform some kind of an activity in the material world. These 5, that is the hands, legs, mouth for speech, reproductive and excretory organs, together are called as karmendriyas. Karmendriyas. Karma or kanma in Tamil means action and indriyam means instrument. So these 5 are called as karmendriyas or kanmendriyas. The 5 jnanendriyas and the 5 kanmendriyas make a total of 10 indriyas, and these are what we call as instruments attached to the body, which is the second point here. In Tamil we call them as karanam. Karanam means instruments. So our karma determines our tanu or the body, and the karanas or the instruments in the body, and the third one is the place of birth. In Tamil this is referred to as the bhuvanam. Bhuvanam. And lastly, the experiences, that are the good and the bad experiences that we will be facing in the world. And the word bhogam, bhogam is used to refer to the experiences. So the karma determines the tanu, karana, bhuvana, bhogam for the uyir. I'll repeat. The karma determines the tanu, karana, bhuvana, bhogam for the uyir. These 4, that is the tanu, karana, bhuvana, bhogam, are said to be made from a fundamental substance called maya. Maya. What is maya and what does it look like? Maya is defined to be a very fine, subtle substance. From this substance called maya, all the objects around us are created. So Maya is subtle, and from it all of these gross elements in nature are formed. I had told you that any object that cannot be perceived by the five senses is called as subtle or sukmam object. The opposite of subtle is gross, that is something that can be grasped with our five senses. The Tamil word for subtle is sukmam, and the Tamil word for gross is thulam. So from the sukmam Maya, we get all these thulam objects around us, including this body. They say that one of the gross or thulam expressions of Maya is space. This space around us, between us and within us. Now if the space, which is not even visible to the eye, is the thulam or the gross expression of Maya, then you can imagine how sukmam or subtle the Maya should be. So now we know what is thulam and sukmam. Now in creation, there is always a cause and effect. For example, if we are baking a cake, we need flour, eggs, sugar, etc. Now these are called as the cause objects, and the final result of the cake is called as the effect object. Now if a potter is making a pot, then the clay and water are called as the cause objects, and the final pot is called as the effect object. The Tamil word for cause is called as karanam, and the effect object is called as the karyam. Now in the cake example, the flour, eggs, sugar are the karanam and the cake is the karyam. So coming back to our subject, the Maya is the karanam, and all of these things in creation is the karyam. So from the Maya, we have the Tanu, Karana, Bhuvana, Bhogam, which is in accordance with our karma. Now, apart from the five sense organs that we talked about earlier, or the Jnanendriyas, the humans also are blessed with a sixth instrument called as the mind. As I had mentioned earlier, it is a sukmam or a subtle instrument. So we cannot see it with our eyes, but we can definitely sense its working. And I had talked about this in my earlier video on the sixth sense. The manam has four parts, that is the manam, buddhi, chittam and ahangaram. We cannot see this organ, but we can definitely sense its working, just as how we cannot see gravity, but we can definitely sense its presence. Manam is what differentiates humans from animals. Manam makes us think about our actions, if they are right or wrong. It makes us understand how others might feel. In these days, we have slowly killed our emotional side in the name of growth and modernization. We are slowly losing the ability to be sensitive and being a human. Now, do animals have manam? Some of them do. Dogs show loyalty, but they say that the manam is not fully developed as that of a human. The developed manam is what separates man from an animal. Also, manam helps the humans to have a record of all of their experiences and to recollect and relive those experiences at will. We do relive our experiences, certain experiences over and over again, don't we? And that's because of the presence of manam. But animals don't have that kind of capacity to relive the experiences over and over again. Just the appearance of human body doesn't mean that we are all humans. So someone who has two hands, two legs and the appearance of a human body, but who behaves like an animal, were not considered as humans by Tamils. Tamil ancestors say that the presence of a functioning manam is what makes a human human. The Tamil word for human is Manidan, because man has a manam, he is called as Manidan. And the Tamils recognize this even in their grammar. I had mentioned this earlier. A baby doesn't have a well developed manam, and so it is referred to as it cries, it sleeps. As the baby grows and faces situations in life, the manam is supposed to mature, and only then he or she is used. Tamil poets did not recognize a man with an immature manam as a human. For example, there is one poet called Kalamega Pulavar of the 15th century. he narrates a particular incident in his life where he comes across a man who is very crude and shabby with his eating habits. He has food all over his mouth and has hair on his food, and at one point the poet gets disgusted seeing him in such a manner, and in utter disgust he composes this poem. This is how it goes. One day Kalamega Pulavar had gone to a wedding. In Tamil weddings, after the wedding ceremony is over, food will be served in batches, and traditionally everyone will sit on the floor and the food will be served in a banana leaf. This gathering is called as pandi. Usually rice, vegetables and other curries will be served like this. And when we sit on the floor and we eat with our hands, normally we bend forward and pick the food in the hand and then go straight and swallow and bend again to pick some more food. Now Kalamega was very hungry and it looks like no one took notice of him. So after a lot of waiting, he was finally called in for the 4th or the 5th batch. He sat on the floor and to his opposite another Brahmin sat. In those days, it was normal for a Brahmin man to have long hair and it was tied in a long bun in the front, something like this. And this is called as a mun kudumi. Mun means front and kudumi is a bun or a ponytail. So he has been sitting and eating for the last 4 batches, this Brahmin, and was still there for more food in this batch. So there was some dried food stuck on the sides of the mouth. Now the rice is served, and instead of bending and going erect, which is how we normally eat, this Brahmin didn't want to waste any time. So he just stayed bent forwards and started pushing rice in his mouth in such a haste. So because he was doing it in such a haste, there was rice spilled all around the banana leaf and some rice fell on the poet's leaf as well. That's it. The poet immediately lost his hunger. He was shocked to see him eat like this without a care for anybody else around him. While eating the food, the Brahmin was shaking his head like this. So the Mun Kudumi kept shaking and suddenly it fell open and all the hair came and fell on the rice and the curry. Now normally we would expect the Brahmin to get up and wash his hands and tie up his hair and resume eating. But our dear fellow thought, why waste time? It would be better to flick his hair like that and continue his eating. So he did that. He flicked his hair and more food flew around and landed on the poet's hands. Oh my God, that's all. The poet was furious. He tolerated to his maximum level and he couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and started singing this song. The song goes like this. Hey you, man with the front bun from the Chola land, whose hair is untied, a lowly creature who has dried up food on the sides of his mouth, a large owl from the place called Tirukudandai, which is where the Brahmin is from. Oh dog, monkey, some lady, because she was jobless, just dropped you on this earth, not gave birth, but just dropped you on this earth. That's how he sings. Now in Tamil, the words are so rhyming. I will read out the Tamil verses. Surikavilda mun kudumi sodiya, sotru poru kularnda vaya, ulaya, Tirukudande kotane, naye, kurange, unayorthi potale, velayattu poi. Here the poet is comparing the Brahmin to all the animals and he says that he must have been dropped on the earth like animals. In Tamil we say that animals drop the babies and humans give birth to babies. Here he is using the word dropped to convey the meaning that the Brahmin is behaving like an animal. That too, animals at least will willingly bring their babies to the earth. But this man's behavior is indicating that his mother probably did not have any such intentions of giving birth to him. She had some 4 or 5 jobs lined up and then she had some free time, and in that free time she decided to have him as if it was one more thing to do in her list. It's funny but at the same time very insulting. So I just quoted this poem to give us an example of how the Tamils did not consider a human as a human unless he had a mature manam and was sensitive to his surroundings. Okay, so I have given many new terms today. Let me summarize. We have seen that karma is the law of cause and effect, and the uyir, when living its life, does many good and bad deeds and thereby accumulates something called punyam and pavam. So this punyam and the pavam gets carried to the next birth and is lived out as good and bad experiences. Based on the karma, the uyir, which is the intelligent entity, at each birth gets the Tanu, Karana, Bhuvana, Bhogam. And this Tanu, Karana, Bhuvana, Bhogam is said to be made from a subtle substance called Maya. Maya is a Sukamam substance and it is a cause or the Karanam for all the gross things around us, including our human body. So all the effect objects are called as the Karyam. Tanu is the body, Karanam are the Indriyams and the Manam. Bhuvanam is the place of birth and Bhogam are the experiences that we will face in the birth. Now the uyir uses these instruments and lives out its punyam and pavam and gets into the cycle of rebirth. So because of our karma, we all act, think and behave differently. We shall start with this basic understanding, and when we go further inside the book, we will revisit these concepts in detail. But this basic understanding is necessary to enter the preface of the book. Now all these terms and concepts that I have spoken about so far are very far away from what we learn in our science about cells and atoms and subatomic particles and so on. But our ancestors have taken this approach of seeing the creation as intelligent and non-intelligent entities, and they build on this kind of an understanding. And I am curious to learn more about the science that they have used, and I will continue to explore more. We will end here today and I will see you all soon. Thank you for listening. Nandri Vanakkam.